so I just saw some of the drifting, which was awesome. It's just like a preview of the D1 Drift series here in Japan. They didn't really compete to win points or win the race or anything, but it was just a demo run. But here are some of the drift cars. I'm gonna go take a look. I love looking at these raw drift cars because you can really see it's all function, no form. There's bare wires exposed everywhere. Of course, you gotta have some safety equipment, but the Defi gauge on the right is broken. There's wires hanging off everywhere. The Defi gauge controller is mounted with a tape. The brakes on these is actually pretty small, which is a bit surprising. And over here is a Toyota Crown, something you don't really see in the States here, but it's got 2JZ with a big ass turbo strap to it, probably making close to 1,000 horsepower, if not more. And here's one of the probably most aggressive FRS I've ever seen in my life. It's got a V8 swap, but it's not an LS motor because here in Japan we don't do that shit. It is got Toyota V8. I don't really know what kind of Toyota V8. There is no radiator up front, so I'm assuming this is the radiator line that goes into the cabin and into the back, and cooling all getting done in the back. Here it looks like it's a NA setup. I don't really know how much power it's making, but I'm sure it's making plenty of power to push this thing around drift course. Project Mu brakes. And look into the rear. Yes, it does have the rear mounted radiator. Aggressive wing that's mounted to the diffuser. Crazy looking car. So here, guys, is the Drift LFA that was just drifting. When I was looking at this car from far away, I saw it be beat up, but it's actually not beat up at all. It's super clean still. The owner said he spent $400,000 buying the car and $200,000 modifying the car. Unfortunately, it does not have the V10, probably for reliability and costing reasons, but it does have the Toyota's V8 engine, and it has been boosted as well. Pretty ridiculous setup. Here more drift cars, got the FRS on the right and the GTR drift car on the left here. Here, look at the engine. It looks pretty stock, but it's actually built by HKS. I don't think this car has broken down or had any major issues since it started drifting for 3 years, so it's pretty reliable setup. Pretty amazing that they have converted this to a rear-wheel drive drift car. So here's a famous Team Orange's Evo 10 drift car. I think 2 years ago they had the 46D3 engine that would span around, but this year, sorry if I'm wrong, it looks like it's got an SR engine in it with interesting intercooler piping setup here with, of course, a turbo right there on the left side. It's not that big of a turbo, but I guess that's big enough for drifting purposes. Interesting car here. And this, guys, is the Lamborghini Murcielago drift car. It does have the Liberty Walk wide body kit, and this is probably the only purpose-built drift Lamborghini ever, as far as I know. Pretty ridiculous that these guys are sliding around a Murcielago. Coming back to the rear, you can actually see through the bumper here. They cut off the bumper for aerodynamics, and you can see straight into the suspension and see what's going on inside. That's pretty cool. And up to the engine, I thought they kept this thing pretty much stock, but it looks like they have modified the engine as well, probably to just increase on reliability. If you look at the wheel setup in the back here, you can see how wide this thing is. There's so much space here. There's what looks like 2 spacers inside, but what's funny is that the tire is only a 275. That's probably skinnier than stock, but I guess you don't want like 335s on a Lamborghini here trying to slide it around. It's not a track car, so that makes sense.